Sorry. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another weekly session of KidLit International. Today I have with me Lauren from Brisbane, Emma also from Brisbane, Karen from Sydney, and Chris, who is in Turkey. Welcome, everyone. Today I thought we would talk about a couple of topics that people have been requesting. And I guess a lot of authors, those who are interested in maybe writing for kids, are looking for some tips, wanting some tips on how to write a picture book or how to write a middle grade book, everything in between. How do you as writers develop characters, the plot? Where do your ideas come from? So I thought, yeah, that would be a really good thing to talk about. So Karen, if we start with you, first of all, you've got 5 books published now, is it? I think 5.
Number 6 soon.
Number 6 soon, yeah. So, Karen, what's your tips? How do you work it all?
Everything I do comes from my heart and it's inside me. So every story has a piece of me. And I don't think you look outside yourself for anything. I find it all within me. So my ideas come from my own experiences and my own life. So I've been a mum. I am a mum. I am a teacher. And now I'm a children's writer, and I also live in a young community. So each book, Foxy, came from being a teacher and learning to work together to solve a problem, and the fun element too of being cheeky. If you have a little bit of cheekiness inside you, Feathers came from a sepsis experience, and it was like, well, what would have happened with my kids? And is there anything for them if I'm gone? And so the dream feather concept came from life trauma. Home came from generational trauma because my mum was a Sudeten German refugee. So that idea, I always wanted to give them a voice because they're not known about. And it kept tapping at me and going, write me. And everyone kept saying, but that's a middle grade story or it's too old for children. But I knew it could be for children and it would speak to children, and it does. So if you have an idea and you really want it to be for children, it's how you approach it and the language you use and the speak you use, but can be done. Doesn't You shouldn't shy away from topics that are considered adult. It's how you do it. And then Our Shell Harbours from where I live, and it's an adventure story and it's a celebration of my childhood and also my children's, and also the children I've taught, and all the children and all the people around here. It's our childhood. So it taps into not only my emotional connection, but theirs. And then Vespa, being a dream controller, is about life has light and dark. And so I tapped into you find the lightness, but you have the darkness. So the scary things are the darkness, and the friendly things are the lightness, and you conquer them and you take control with a dream changer. And then the temple story is about finding peace within, stillness, calmness, mindfulness. So you just got to find something that you're interested in, whatever it is, whether it's because I love animals. So I'm always looking for things about animals in the ocean and saving animals. And because I have a story coming out about seahorses and I love them because as soon as I see them, I'm like, oh my God, I love you. And it's the same. I looked out the back window and I just called Frank. I said, you've got to come. I have something very special to show you. And there, sitting on an old tree, was this beautiful little fat kookaburra. And I said, "There's my gift for the day." And the kookaburra is in our Shell Harbour book, but the white one, but it was here. I'm like, there you are. I love, then I talk to the kookaburra from the window and tell it I love it, which is probably crazy, but anyway, I do. So, and then the whales are in our Shell Harbour book, and like, it's what you love, is what you write about. So if you're passionate, whether it's even crocheting or whatever it is, you can create a book or in, but it's to help children. I sort of like to write to empower children too. My biggest weakness would be tension. It's not the idea, it's not the setting. And there are different types of picture books. So you need to know what sort of picture book you write. But a lot of picture book writers follow the traditional pattern where you have three inciting incidents and then there's a resolution and then a surprise at the end. And depending on characters, I had a lot of learning on character because you never stop learning, working with the Venerable on Seeking Treasure with Bodhi, the book coming out with the temple. And we would sit there, and I would think I'm going in for an hour meeting, and 3 hours later, 4 hours, we're still there and we've written one line, or we've discussed one line in what I've written. And we had to really get the cave scene right. And the Venerable saying to me, "But what are the children feeling in here? What are they saying?" And she's wanting all this deep meaningfulness. And I said, "Peacefulness, calmness." And she's going, "What else?" I'm going, "That's it." And then we talk and then we're trying to pull teeth. But it's all about how the characters feel and how they react. And in any story, they're looking for growth, character growth. So how does a character change through what happens to them? And how does that show you readers? So I don't know. I hope that explains what you're talking about. But yeah, how does your character change?
Yeah, yeah.
What is the growth and is it obvious? And if it's not obvious, the characters don't have enough depth. But I find creating tension the hardest thing.
Yeah, yeah. And it can be. You gave a lot of really good tips there. Really just writing from the heart, writing what you know about and the growth throughout the story. And I don't think it matters if it's a picture book or a young adult book. It
No,
still has um that same growth throughout. Lauren, you've written early readers with your boys.
Oh, that's
What are your
hard to
thoughts?
follow, Karen, isn't it? Because Karen gave us such a great answer. Um, Look, I'll be honest with you. I just want to capture childhood magic. It's taken away too early.
Yeah.
My inspiration why I started was I wanted to record these moments in time that I know have an expiration date. And along the way, I've learned to be a better writer because our first book we did when I lost my job during the pandemic. And that was like our little fun project when mummy wasn't so fun. And since then, look, I've learned a whole ton more. And so for kids out there who want to write their own books, I have this analogy, but is it a burger? Okay. So just like there's different flavors of burgers out there, there's lots of different stories out there, but bun, patty, salad, cheese, sauce, structure's the same. Act one, act two, act three. So your characters, your setting, your goal, act one, act two, it's like, okay, the exciting incident, like Karen said, for picture books, it's like three or something. Chapter books, middle grade, it's all different, right? But the main thing is it's kind of the exciting ways this person is making their goals happen. And then act three is like the resolution, right? It's like, what did they feel? What did they learn? What was the outcome? How did they do it? How did they solve it? And I guess for kids who have their own imaginations, put it all down on paper. Your characters and your stories are important. Just remember, though, is it a burger?
Good tip there, Lauren. Good tip. Chris, you've published two kids' books now. Two? Three.
Yeah,
Two.
two of the dogs
Yeah.
books. The third one is nearly done. Um,
Yeah.
and even that I'm changing up because the first two books is three dogs in each. The next one is just going to be one dog. Um, and if she could speak or write, I'm sure I'd have a lawyer sending me letters saying breach of copyright. Um, I think one of the keys to it all is looking around your surroundings. What people like to see is something they recognize and it's a hook to bring them in. So having the dogs around me, just watching them, watch they get up, what they get up to, I can still make up some scenarios, but most of those scenarios just come from watching the dogs over the last few years, and it's really interesting. The big thing I found with the kids' books, don't write for kids. Don't attempt to write for kids. Adults have to get it as well. And what's more, if you try and write for kids, you'll get it wrong, and the kids will see straight through it in seconds because they tend to be a lot more intelligent when they're younger than when they get older. So you have to be really careful. You've got to write it for what you would want to read. And so when I did the first book, and this is carried on, it was all a case of, right, I'm going to have certain chapter lengths, which is a story before bedtime, and the parent reading to the child or the child reading to the parent, they've got to enjoy it as well. So it's got to bring in everyone. And if you write it like that, the kids seem to enjoy it more. And I did a Zoom call with 25 kids at a school in the US, which was terrifying. Um, and some of the questions they were coming out with were kind of, hang on, I've done interviews with adults that weren't this insightful. So always be aware kids are a lot more intelligent than we think. And I think if you focus on that when you're putting your book together, don't write down to them. They'll spot it. And to be honest, you'll lose your story in, if anything, trying to be too clever.
Mm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with a lot of that. Emma, you're not just an illustrator, but you're writing your own story as well. What are your thoughts on capturing ideas and plots and character development and all those things?
I'm still very much a beginner writer, but I sometimes use my illustrations to guide my writing, which is kind of my like secret extra skill there. But I love everything that's already been said, like writing from the heart, making sure that there is that structure. I love the burger analogy. I'm going to use that. That's amazing.
That's actually my school topic I deliver. Sorry to cut you off there, Emma, because I do act one, act two, act three. Is it a burger? But then at the end, we play a game where I read them small stories I've written and ask them, well, is it a burger? Is it? And some of them like, no, it's missing. Anyway, as you were. Sorry.
I'll attend one of those classes. Where I'm pulling ideas from is sort of my interest when I write is making like skill, like when you're a kid and then it sort of goes into when you're an adult, having those like challenges in life or those skills in life that you think, oh, that's too hard. I'm interested in sort of making those skills more accessible. Things that we might put in the too hard box, the too hard category. Like I also want to break that box apart and sort of encourage those skills from like an early age through the stories I'm writing to, you know, so they're not too hard. Like you can do it and you can do it badly and you can take some time to get you like build the skills around it. So that's sort of what I'm interested in is breaking down that not too hard box and like breaking down that habit, because that was a habit I saw in myself. I was a late diagnosed ADHD girl, and I think that like not having that understanding of how that impacted my learning through school, especially as a child, and why I wasn't fitting in or getting like learning the same as my classmates, meant a lot of things went into the too hard basket, and you can carry that on into the rest of your life. So that's what I'm sort of interested in doing. And writing for me was in a long time in the too hard basket. So I am living what I'm preaching as well, and attempting to do the writing and bring through that skill. So maybe it's just writing could also be like a journey of improving yourself, and a sort of a self-betterment journey. And then that might be something that you share later on with life, and you might learn something that's worth sharing in a story, especially for kids.
Yeah. I'm interested, Emma, as an illustrator, you get given a story. Do you ever want to change the plot that the author's written? I hope this makes sense. Because your vision may be a little bit different
I haven't
than what the
encountered that.
author's got. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, how do you work that?
I love that's my favorite thing, is working with authors and working with stories, and sort of it's like seeing different perspectives, seeing a piece, like seeing inside someone's mind also, and then trying to pair that with illustrations. I love it's not really a challenge, but it is a challenge of like taking what's been written and elevating that, or complementing, more complementing it, not elevating it, complementing it with my illustrations. If I ever feel something could be changed, it would only be like minor tweaks, like if like a character's being described doing something and I can show that through an illustration, and that might help make the text flow a little bit smoother. That's a conversation that I have with like a team, like with a publisher, an editor, and the author. But generally, I'm really I yeah, I don't see a lot of, like, I don't ever really want to change a story. As an illustrator, if you come across a story and it doesn't really connect, and you'd want it to be completely different, it's probably not a good fit for you to illustrate. It's really important when you're illustrating to work on stories that you love, because it's a long process. By the time you get to that 12th or 14th illustration, it's quite a long journey. So it's important to illustrate stories that you're really, really connected with and you really love. So if this is a story and you really want to like see it be substantially changed, it might just not be the best fit for you. Because your name's going to be on the book as well. And like that book's going to be out into the world, and it's going to live a life of its own, and it's connecting you and the author and all the lovely people who have made it. So it's really good to make sure and ask yourself, this is something I want, to work on and be a part of, and to be part of that little community that grows around the book, even if it's just the author and you and anyone involved in the editing or publishing. So yeah, if that's probably my advice there. If you do, as an illustrator, come across a story that you want really change, it might not be the best thing for you to be illustrating.
Yeah. Chris, if I can just go back to you, your first two books you said have 3 dogs in them. This next one's got 1. Why the change, and how is that going to alter? Is this one dog who's been in your other books, or is it someone totally different? I'm just wondering about character growth and all those things.
It's because of character growth, it's only going to be 1. She's not been in any of the other books yet. Previously, I used to go for a walk on the beach and I'd come back with 12 stray dogs. So having a big group of dogs to be able to write about and write about each one individually for a third of each book was very easy. The next one is I found a little puppy about that big. So for the last 2.5 years, she's sat outside at the moment. She just doesn't leave me. Um, and so I've had more of an insight into everything she does and being able to see more of her character. So it is because I've got more to show on her character in this one and character development that means I can make it just about the one dog. Although there will be other dogs that come into it because we still have 4 or 5 strays on the beach. So they'll all be part of it. But it's also getting across her character, how she reacts to various situations, and how, in many ways, we all react. So if she's finding she's being bullied by other dogs, or she's scared of one of the wild boar walking around, or one of the jackals that we now have, then you can portray that. And it's taking away almost that fear factor. And it's exactly as Emma says, don't be scared of things. Experience, experience, experience. Um, and if we do that, of course, we leave a little bit of ourselves in every book we write. And thankfully, with the dogs, I leave a lot of the dogs in every book that I write because they're all here. Um, so yeah, I mean, she's in the video for the song, but she's not been in a book yet. But it's I found out how much I got to write about her and how much I could develop it. So it only needs to be about one on this one.
Yeah. Lauren, burgers or not? Everyone's advice.
Burgers or hot dogs? No, I think just everyone's story is important is what I want to tell everyone out there. Like I said, lots of different flavors of burgers, just like there's lots of different stories. Doesn't mean there's one that's particularly the best. But I think it's if you've got magic in your mind, no matter what age, get it out because there's an expiration date on there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is so true. Yeah. All right. So thank you, everyone, for your insights today. Always invaluable. Everyone's experience is always different. And yet, listening today to this conversation, each of you works from the heart space. And I think that especially when you are writing for kids, you are writing for adults too, as you said, Chris, but writing for kids, you have to work from that heart space. That's what kids see, and they do see through it in so many different ways. And that's something I experienced when I was teaching. And I know you did too, Karen, when you were teaching. Kids were very upfront about their thoughts about stories. So, but that can be a conversation for another day. So, anyway, yeah, it really could be. It's that could be opening a can of worms. Anyway, thank you everyone for today's conversation, and we'll chat again next week.
Thank you.
You.